Don't look now, but you're listening to the Yellow Bag Brigade, the authorities on everything geek. And now, whether you like it or not, here are your hosts, Michael Nystrom and Johan Arwidmark.
Okay. Hello, Johan.
Hello, Mr. Michael.
So what is the topic for today?
Today is all about improving admin security for our fellow sysadmins around the globe.
Yes. Should we talk about how people do it today? And it's not bad. It's just this is the way people do, right? They use remote desktop.
They
And
do.
love
Basically, every customer I would go to, if I see remote admin work being done, it's very likely that it's someone doing from their own workstation or from sometimes an admin workstation. They use regular RDP to remote into the server or servers they need to manage.
And
I see that all the time.
It's very convenient. I do it myself. It's very convenient. You log on, you have the access to the machine. It's not very useful when you do a core server, but when you do a regular server, it's fine. And you do have like two accounts, like you have your user account and you have your admin account. That's also true, right? Mm-hmm. So that's how people do it. Now, what is the issue with that? What is the impact of doing it that way? Well,
So when you do interactive logins, like you do when you do a remote desktop session, you typically, depending on your configuration, you leave some, should we say, secrets behind.
like a trail. It's
A little bit of a trail, yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes, as long as you do an interactive logon, and a remote desktop is an interactive logon, and every machine you log on to, it means that you go to your workstation, you log on, you type your credentials. You are going to leave a trail on that machine. You are going to, in most cases, because we can fix this, but in most cases, you're going to leave your hash. And this is not new. It has always been like this. You leave your hash. Now, can you convert a hash into a password? You could. It's just going to take you forever to do it unless you have a rainbow table. But it usually is not the problem. They can't crack your password. That's not going to be the issue. But they can use the hash. It's possible to use the hash. It's using a technique called pass the hash, meaning I don't need to know your PIN code or your password. I just need to have the result of it, and I can steal it from the computer. I do need to be an admin to grab it. But hey, let's take an example. Johan, you're going to be the admin, and I want to be an admin guy. I'm a user on a machine, and you remote desktop connect to my machine to do something.
Mm-hmm.
That means you logged on and you left a trail. I can't reach that. I can't grab that. But I can download a bunch of scripts that will use weaknesses in the operating system to elevate me as an admin. Or I can be infected with an application. You remember UAC, right? The user account control thing. User account control is really cool because that means that if you need to elevate, it's going to pop up a dialog box, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can search for UAC bypass on GitHub and you're going to find tons of script that does the bypass. Let's say that somebody else injects that script into my machine, which is not really complicated. I run the script without really knowing it, then I'm automatically elevated myself to being an admin. Or I use another technique. And another way to steal your credentials is, let's say that you connect to a server and you log on as an admin because you need to do something. I log on as an admin. I'm not really the same really cool admin. I'm just a simple admin. I can steal your session keys from your existing session. So as long as you're logged on, your session keys is open and they can be stolen. So it's not really that hard to grab your credentials. And what you should know Statistics is always fun. About 70% of all the attacks are done through admin accounts. So it's not the user accounts that should be protected. It's actually your account, because your account is powerful and can do things. So the admin account is the account that needs to be protected. So let's talk about how many admin accounts you need to have. Let's say that you're everything. You're a domain admin, you're a workstation admin, you're a server admin, you're home admin, lawn mover admin, you're the coffee machine admin, you're everything admin. Well, you need a user account. That makes sense. That's the account you log on to, right? Then you need a domain admin account. And that's the highest privileged account you can have. And that should only be used on a domain controller. You don't need to have, you should never use like a server admin account to access the domain controller. So you really need to have the domain admin credential. That's going to be a separate account. So that's 2 accounts. If you're going to need to manage a bunch of servers, then you're going to need a member server admin account or a unique admin account for each server. And if you're going to manage workstations, you're going to need to have a local admin account on each workstation or a workstation admin account. So you usually end up with 4, 5 something accounts, and you should be very careful where you use them. Because every time you do an interactive logon, you're going to leave a trail, and somebody can steal that trail. So you go to an ATM, because this can be compared with an ATM. When you do an ATM, do you check if the ATM machine looks like a genuine ATM machine before you put in your card? I do.
In recent years, yes, I do, for sure.
Do you like check if the card slot is really stuck in the machine and there's no funny connectors to it? Or I do that. I didn't do this. I didn't do that back in the days, but nowadays I'm a bit picky when I select my ATM machine. Same thing goes for you and I have been to restaurants and eating dinners for I can't remember how many, but we've done it for many years. And you always go like, well, if I'm going to give my credit card to this guy, you want to be able to trust the location you are in. So yes, you pick a restaurant that looks like a restaurant, and you hope they're not going to do something bad with the card, because you're giving them the card for just a brief couple of minutes, but they do have access to your credit card. And you should treat your password like you treat your credit card, basically.
So if RDP management is bad,
yes,
as an example, what can be done to make it better?
Okay, so let's talk about the easiest way. You minimize the number of machines you do an interactive logon. If you can keep it to your own machine, you're good, right? Because then you need to make sure that your own PC is good. How do you remotely manage machines? I would say remote server admin tools, RSAT. They are great.
Yeah, but I really would like to use RDP. What options do I have? Can I make it better than it is by default?
You can. They invented something called Credential Guard a while back, and Credential Guard is cool. Now you can use that together with remote sessions. So it's possible to
called Remote Credential Guard, right?
Correct. And Remote Credential Guard means that you're going to log on to your machine, like your PC, you log on to your PC. When you do a remote desktop connection, instead of doing a new interactive logon, it's going to grab the credentials you have and transmit them like a session instead. So you never leave the trail on the other end. You still have a session on the other machine, and the session can be stolen, but you don't leave a trail. When you log off, you're gone. You've never been to the machine. There's no trails left, which is cool. Now, another way to do it is to use remote tools, and RSAT is one of them. What about remote PowerShell? Well,
remote PowerShell is session-based, right? So no interactive logon really happens.
There's no leftovers when you leave it. And if you compare remote server admin tools and you compare that with PowerShell remote. Now we do work with a lot of customers, and some of them go like, well, we're gonna prevent remote PowerShell because that's dangerous, but we're gonna allow remote server admin tools. Okay, I would like to flip that the other way around, because remote server admin tools, number one, they require a bunch of ports to be opened in the firewall. Remote PowerShell only requires one port. Therefore, it's easier to control, all right? So that's one benefit. And the other one is, if you use remote PowerShell, you can also implement what's called JIT and JIA. It's called just enough administration privileges and just in time admin privileges. And that means that I can say that you can use the following commandlets on that machine between this time and this time. You can use the following syntax. So I can limit, let's say that you can do like get AD computer or something like that, but you can't use set AD computer. You can use get item, but you can't use set item, or something like that. You can never prevent anyone from doing that if you use remote server admin tools or remote desktop. Now, the really cool thing about JIT and JIA is that it's kind of hard to configure, and it's even hard to understand how to use it. But there's actually one really cool tool that makes it possible to use a UI-based admin console to perform all these remote admin actions, but still leveraging remote PowerShell and just enough administration. It's called Windows Admin Center. So Windows Admin Center have that ability. It's not called just enough administration. It's called role-based access, but it's using that technology. And you can configure that, you can modify it, you can create your own, and you can deploy it using desired state configuration. So for a bunch of servers, together with Windows Admin Center, you can really slim down that. Johan, you're allowed to do the following tasks on the following servers at the following times. That's it. That's what you can do. You can perform your duties, but you can't do more than that. There are reasons why they invented this technology, and we don't need to go into details, but the information ended up in WikiLeaks eventually. So there are reasons to configure it that way. So, but the problem is that a lot of customers believe that remote PowerShell, that's dangerous. It's not. It's all the other tools that are dangerous.
And of course, other good best practices in the same area is do use the shinier versions of Windows, meaning Windows 10 Enterprise or Education, which have all these new security features.
Yeah.
Don't stay behind on servers too long. Get rid of those 2008 R2 servers, 2012 servers eventually, and focus on the current platforms, because they are by nature more secure. They are developed in a time frame where you kind of expect to be targeted for attacks, rather than like it was 20 years ago. Basically nothing happened. You can leave stuff open, but that's not the case anymore.
Yeah, and both you and me work for a company that has, let's say that security is a part of the company name, right? That means that we have these stories and we've seen these nightmares that customers have from time to time. You don't want to have this. Protect your admin credentials. That's all I have to say. Protect your admin credentials. Well, that's all for now. I would like you to join us for the next episode, and we're going to talk about building the Better Home Lab.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Yellow Bag Brigade, the authorities on everything geek. We hope you enjoyed today's podcast, and if you didn't, that's your fault. Till next time, embrace automation.